The hearing officer meeting for Tuesday, August 1st, 2017 is hereby called to order. Good afternoon. My name's David Williams and I'm the City of Tempe's hearing officer. The City of Tempe hearing officer is authorized both by Arizona Revised Statute and the City of Tempe Zoning and Development Code, and he has the duty to carry out the provisions and the intent of the city's general plan and zoning and development code. The hearing officer is granted the authority to conduct public hearings, to review and either approve, continue, deny, or approve with conditions several types of cases, including use permits, variances, and property abatements. On today's agenda, we have a modified agenda. We have 3 items that will actually be heard today. We'll hear a set of meeting minutes from our last meeting in July. We'll talk about 1 abatement case, and we'll have 1 use permit case, and then we'll also have 1 use permit standard request as well. If you are here for agenda item number 2, that item's been taken off the agenda. The property was brought into compliance. That's the Thai Tran property abatement. That case will not be heard today. As the hearing officer, I have reviewed carefully the City of Tempe Community Development Department report on each of the items that are on the agenda today. I consider that information during the meeting and use that report during the deliberations. Additionally, I've driven by each of the properties that are on the agenda today and taken a look at the property, the conditions immediately around it, and to help me understand the neighborhood, the as-built conditions, or what the condition of the property is if it's an abatement case. If you are an applicant or interested citizen, when your request or item is called or when you wish to address the hearing officer, please step up to the microphone at the front of the room and state your name and city of residence. Any person other than the applicant that wishes to speak is welcome to do so, but you need to complete a white speaker card if you haven't done so already, and turn that in when you approach to speak or beforehand. Those cards are located both at the front on the table next to the podium, and there's some in the back of the room as well, along with some meeting agendas if anybody needs an agenda. If you are aggrieved by, and each person gets about 3 minutes to speak. If you're a person who might be aggrieved by a decision that's made today, you may file an appeal. It has to be done within 14 calendar days from the date of the decision. So any appeals that are going to be made from decisions rendered today need to be done by 3 p.m. on August 15th, 2017. That appeal deadline is 3 p.m. August 15th, 2017. Appeals of the decisions of the hearing officer are either heard by the Board of Adjustment or the Development Review Commission, whichever board that type of case is appropriate to hear. In the case of a property abatement, if the property owner fails to file an appeal or fails to bring the property into compliance prior to this date, talking about August 15th, the violations addressed at the hearing today will be abated by the City of Tempe. I want to introduce a couple folks before we get started. We have some staff members from the city. Over to my right are Steve Abrahamson, he's the principal planner, Diane McGuire, our administrative assistant, and Lee Jimenez, he is a senior planner with the city. Okay, let's go right on into the agenda then and get going with our business today. The first item on the agenda, item 1, is consideration of meeting minutes from July 18th. That was a long meeting. It was a lot of pages of minutes. I did review them. They have been corrected and they are approved as written, and thank you. As I mentioned earlier, item number 2 will not be heard today. That was an abatement case where the property was brought into compliance, so we're going to move on to agenda item number 3, which is a request to approval to abate public nuisance items at the Cleveland property. This is case CE 172528. The property is located at 1808 East Concordia Drive, and the applicant's the City of Tempe. Mr. Glaub, how are you today? Welcome.
Good afternoon, sir.
This case is relating to a unregistered vehicle parked in the front yard. Was by there today. The vehicle was there. I noticed in your notes there was notes about the tires being flat. They were pumped up today. I also noticed there's a 2016 tag on that vehicle. Is that tag the expired tag that you're referring to?
That's correct, sir.
Okay. Any other information? Have you been there today?
I went by this morning and observed that the tires were inflated. That was different from my prior inspection. So it certainly was progress. However, did ask for the registration to be addressed as well, and the homeowners had 4.5 months to address that and has failed to do so as of this morning.
Okay, and I noted also in the kind of the case record here that this was an issue a year or two ago. And
That's
did
correct, sir.
did the city actually abate then a year or two ago?
Yes,
Follow
sir.
through with an abatement?
Yes, sir. In July of 2016, we did tow a vehicle from the driveway of the property. We went through the same process, numerous notices mailed and taped to the structure, citation, public hearing for the seeking approval of abatement, then ultimately did end up conducting it and towing it from his property.
Were you the officer or the staff on that case?
Yes,
Is
sir.
this the same vehicle that's last year?
Not to my
Different vehicle.
recollection.
Okay, not that that's really that important, but I was curious. Okay, anything else you wanted to add?
I'm seeking approval for 180 days as this is a repeat type of violation at this property, and the, they've had 4.5 months to comply with code, and there's a potential that they could bring another vehicle to the property and be in violation for operability or lack of registration.
Okay, thank you very much. If you can have a seat, I may need to call you back, but thanks for being here today. Is there anyone in the audience who wants to speak on this case? It's agenda item 3 for the Cleveland property. A request to abate a unregistered vehicle in the front yard. Not seeing anybody, and understanding this is a result of complaints from neighboring property owners, and having observed it myself today and hearing from staff, and we have a repeat type of situation. So the request to approve 180-day open abatement is approved as staff requested, and thank you, staff. Our next item on the agenda today is item number 4. This is a request approval of a use permit to allow a tobacco retailer for Glass House Smoke Shop. It's case PL 170207, located at 1835 East University. I think it was Suite 1. Actually, I know that was Suite 1. The applicant is Kenneth Eller of ArchiCAD Architects PLLC. Mr. Jimenez.
Good evening here, Officer Williams. My name is Lee Jimenez. I'm a senior planner with the Community Development Department in the Planning Division. Glass House Smoke Shop is proposing to operate a smoke shop near the southeast corner of South McClintock Drive and East University Drive in the CSS Commercial Shopping and Services District. The shop plans to sell tobacco products and tobacco-related products. The hours of operation will be from 9 a.m. to 11 p.m. Sunday through Thursday, and 9 a.m. to 12 a.m. Friday and Saturdays. One employee will be on staff in the morning and afternoon, and 2 will be on hand in the evening. In addition to requiring a use permit to allow a tobacco retailing in the CSS district, the use is also subject to use separation requirements, in which tobacco retailers should not be located within a quarter mile or 1,320 feet measured by a straight line in any direction from lot line of a charter, private, or public school which provides elementary or secondary education. Staff confirms that this application complies with the use separation requirements. The closest school, Thew Elementary, is located at 2130 East Howe Avenue and is approximately 3,854 feet away. To date, no public input has been received, and as indicated in the staff report, staff believes that this application meets the approval criteria for the use permit and supports the request subject to the conditions provided in the staff report. And I'll be available should you have any questions.
Thank you. Mr. Jimenez, we've got 9 conditions of approval. If this request is to be approved today, any changes or modifications to those 9 conditions?
I don't have any at this time.
Okay. A couple questions for you. The hours of operation, you've reviewed a couple of these cases, I want to say. It's not your first one. Those hours of operation generally in alignment with other smoke shop hours of operations that you've reviewed?
Yes, generally 10 p.m., 11 p.m. was the cutoff for the others.
Okay.
On a weekday basis.
Okay, I noticed you noticed some landscaping issues on the site. Were those on the McClintock frontage? Is that where there's issues with landscape materials?
I believe there's some missing trees, but which are shown on the site plan.
Does that
will be
apply to the
replaced.
site, or is that just near this particular suite, or is that kind of a site issue?
There's one missing tree along, if we can get the overhead again. I'll show you where the applicant is proposing to replace the trees. There's one on McClintock Drive, which is just west of the building,
Okay, right,
and
that's
then
what I
there's some in the
thought.
parking lot landscape island. And property owners adjacent to right-of-way are required to maintain the landscaping in the right-of-way.
Okay. And my other question related to lighting, there was a mention of some non-conforming lighting. Is that in the window of the store?
This could be lighting, not on the window, but it could be parking lot, landscape lighting.
Okay. So these are both site issues versus a specific user.
That's correct.
Okay, understood. Okay, that's all I've got, unless you have any other information.
I don't have anything else to add.
Thank you very much. Is the applicant here or their representative? Please come on up. And thank you for being here today.
You're welcome.
And welcome, how are you?
Good. Well, thank you. My name's Ken Eller, CAD Architects here in Tempe. The owner, the operator of the business, the owner of the business is in full agreement with all the stipulations. I just want to clarify, I just want to make on the record, just make one clarification on one of the stipulations, on the stipulation number 8 regarding the landscaping. I've seen a historical landscape plan, and they had some landscaping shown along the south end of the building. There's only about 30 inches of space or something like that in places. It's very, very narrow. The
Yeah, I
point
saw
being,
that.
I'm not going to get into details or argument of but it's just a very narrow strip up against the parking area of the adjoining property. It's not a feasible location for planting, and it's probably why nothing is there now. So I just want to go on the, make sure we can negotiate that or
It's probably
come to
just
agreement on that. But
removal
otherwise,
of-
the rest of it is fine. The frontage landscaping, there's no question. The parking lot landscaping on the island, no question. The owner's perfectly willing to work with all of that. I'm just looking at it from a feasibility standpoint is all.
Yeah, staff jump in, but I'll take a stab at it. If there's weeds or other things growing in there, they need to be removed, so that's maintained and probably treated with landscape rock or inert material,
Right.
rather than trying to grow anything in there, so it has a neat and well-kept appearance. Staff, anything to modify or add to that?
I would just recommend then, since it was approved that way, that maybe perhaps submitting for a minor development plan review to modify the landscape plan to remove that section of landscaping. And I mean, it'll be reviewed, and I mean, recommendations will be made whether to keep or maintain that. But it can be done through that process.
So that was a planting strip originally? The original plan called for
Like I said,
irrigation?
it was, as we were doing our due diligence and looking through all of the historical documents, it was probably the very first landscape plan that was submitted with this site, and who knows what has transpired since, but it was just,
Gotcha.
they had a whole row of stuff, and it just is
Yeah.
not practical.
Well, staff's usually pretty reasonable on issues like that, so
So-
that sounds like you might need a minor approval.
Okay.
Anything else? Any
No,
questions?
other than that, I spoke to the owner of the property, consulted with the owner, and there's no objection to any of the stipulations.
Okay. That's
They
good.
intend to comply and
Okay.
bring it up to code, so.
They are understood. Wonderful. All righty, thank you for being here again today.
You're welcome. Thank you.
And anyone else in the audience who'd like to speak on this case, you're welcome to do so. This is agenda item 4, use permit for a tobacco retailer. Not seeing anybody here for that. When we do a use permit of this nature, there's some criteria we need to get into the record that use permits need to meet in order to be approved. And in this case, there's 5 of them. Number 1 is significant increase in vehicular pedestrian traffic. There is no pedestrian vehicular traffic impact on the neighborhood. This doesn't have access directly to any adjacent neighborhood, and would be traffic that we would expect in a center of this type. Nuisance from odor, dust, gas, vibration, smoke, heat, or glare. I have no reason to expect those issues will be a problem. It's an interior type of business, nothing going on outside. Contributing to the deterioration of the neighborhood and downgrading of property values. I would say generally a business or place that's occupied with a healthy business is better for the neighborhood than one that's vacant. I know there's some compliance issues on this particular case. My understanding is those are being brought into compliance, and this use permit can assist with that. I think this is a positive for the neighborhood to have a healthy business. It is outside the distance for schools, so we don't have any conflict there with separation from schools and sensitive uses. And I just find it generally compatible with the objectives of the city's general plan. Number 4, compatibility with existing surrounding structures. This is just one business in kind of a strip center, a multi-space or suite building. This fits in and is compatible with the rest of those uses there in my estimation. And number 5, control of disruptive behavior inside and outside. We don't expect that. We expect the operator, though, to control those types of things that may be exterior to the business. And one of the conditions is to come back and check with us to make sure there's no problems. I don't see any reason to expect problems. So I think we're good to go on criteria number 5 as well. As such, the request for use
Excuse me, did you go through the use permit criteria? Okay, I thought you were going through conditions. I'm sorry, and your microphone's off.
Boo. Do you want me to go through them again?
I think it just got cut off at the end there.
Did it?
Maybe your last few sentences about
anything
approving.
repeated for the record? Okay. Got it, okay. All right, sorry about that. Yeah, my book was on the switch. Oops. But we did just go through that, Mr. Abramson. Yes. Aha. Well, no problemo. So, to repeat, the request for use permit for Glass House Smoke Shop is approved subject to the 9 conditions, and thank you all for being here today, and good luck with the business. And our use permit criteria were found to be met. Okay, we got one more case on today's agenda. It's item number 5. It's a request for approval of a use permit standard to reduce the required south side yard setback for a detached RV shade canopy for the Oliver residence, case PL 170215. The property is located at 1068 West Paseo Way. The applicant's Tim Gort of Gort Metals Corporation. Mr. Jimenez.
Good evening once again, Lee Jimenez, Senior Planner with the Community Development Department in the Planning Division. The Oliver residence is located on Lot 8 of the Tempe Royal Estates Unit 7 subdivision on a cul-de-sac west of West Paseo Way and South Hardy Drive in the R16 Single Family Residential District. The applicant, Tim Gort of Gort Metals Corporation, is requesting a use permit standard to reduce the required south side yard setback from 9 feet to 5 feet for a steel RV shade canopy, 20 feet in width, 36 feet in length, and 14.5 feet in height. To date, no public input has been received, and as indicated in the staff report, staff believes that this application meets the approval criteria for a use permit standard and supports the request subject to the conditions provided in the staff report.
Very good. Okay, I visited this property today as well and peeked into the backyard and looked at the setting on the cul-de-sac. I noted it backed up to the canal. Seemed okay, and no additional input or any other information, Mr. Jimenez?
Nothing received today.
Thank you very much. Okay, is the applicant here or representative? Come on up. Welcome.
Thank you, thank you.
Thanks for being here.
Tim Gort, Gort Metals Corporation.
Welcome. Any information you want to present, any questions you've got, this is the time.
No, just everything that was in there. This is a first, so I don't.
Gotcha.
I've done a lot of work in Tempe, but it's always been commercial. So.
Will this structure have the side, like the side skirting?
He didn't want any. We can certainly put it on
Just
there.
curious.
There, like the one picture, I think, from the
Right, I saw
NOAA thing for the Scottsdale Healthcare we had done years ago. they put that shade fabric down one side. And then I think in one of the pictures where they got a bigger bus, so we put another one right next to that one, but then they put steel, like the roof decking, siding down the sides, and then on one
more
wall.
permanent.
But
Yeah, we haven't heard from the neighbor who would see it, so things seem okay. I noted on your plan, it's gonna be painted to match the house.
Right.
Great. There's some conditions of approval that staff's included. We have any questions about those? There were 2 conditions. They're pretty standard in terms of getting the building permit, and therefore the permit would be, the use permit standard would be for those plans as submitted. So those are pretty straightforward, nothing special.
yeah, I just take your approval and then I can submit to the city.
Right. Do you have any question about that or any concern? Okay. Thanks for
Pretty
being here.
straightforward, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, hey, thanks for being here again. Appreciate you taking the time. Anyone in the audience who'd like to speak on this case, now is the time. There is no one in the hearing room to speak on the case. This is a use permit standard. It has some criteria that need to be satisfied in order to be approved, and they include significant increase in traffic, either vehicular or pedestrian. There's no effect to either pedestrian or vehicular traffic from this use permit standard. Nuisance from odor, dust, gas, noise, vibration, or smoke. There does not appear to be any effect from emissions, since this is strictly a shade canopy for a motorhome that has already been parked in the backyard. Contribution to the deterioration of the neighborhood or to downgrading property values, which would be in conflict with our general plan. And it's anticipated that actually this is an investment in the property and increases the property value with this improvement. So this criteria certainly is satisfied, as it appears to me. Number 4, compatibility with surrounding structures and uses. The applicants indicated they'll paint the canopy to match the existing house, which I think will provide some uniformity and minimize any impact to surrounding structures and uses. As such, number 4 is met. And then finally, adequate control, disruptive behavior inside and outside the premises, which might create a nuisance. Surface of RV parking area in the canopy will consist of crushed granite. That should help mitigate any dust and potential nuisance created from that. And no major repair work on the RV is anticipated under this canopy, which could create some disruptive activity. So as presented, it meets the 5 criteria. This request for use permit standard to reduce the side yard setback from 9 to 5 feet is approved, subject to the 2 conditions in the staff report. And good luck with the project. Okay, that's agenda item number 5. That's our last agenda item for today's meeting. The next meeting of the hearing officer will be 2 weeks from today on Tuesday, August 15th, 2017. Mr. Abrahamson, any additional comments or anything from staff before we adjourn?
No, thank you, Hearing Officer Williams. Appreciate it.
Thank you, sir. Sorry about the microphone issue, and by all means, feel free to interrupt me if you hear that go dead. I don't mind being interrupted to fix that, because you can't tell from here, but happy to fix it. Anyway, thank you, staff, and today's meeting is adjourned.